I'm Miles Protter, and today I'm going to talk about how you can learn how to listen so that others have the space to open up. It's commonly accepted wisdom that men find it difficult to express emotion, to be vulnerable, to discuss their concerns. And people say it's because we don't like to talk. But the real reason is that we feel no one's listening. And this is supported by research from Movember that found that 41% of 4,000 men who were interviewed said they wouldn't open up again, or they would really be nervous about opening up because the last time they did it, they didn't feel respected or the other person was interested. And if there's one thing I've learned over 30 years of working with thousands of men, it's this: that when a man trusts another guy who's listening, he will talk. And in fact, you can't shut him up. Most of us think that listening is like too passive, like we're not doing anything, we're just sitting there, right? But actually, it's one of the greatest gifts you can give another person. Because when you listen, it helps someone like take a barrier, this barrier like, hey, it's not manly to be emotional, that you can take this barrier, and when someone's on the other side listening, the barrier just falls away. And the person has got space to communicate. And when someone has got space to talk, they can think. And when you think, all these insurmountable problems, they get broken down into little ones. And you can kind of start attacking them in chunks. And you can start running scenarios, and you can start planning and thinking. You've just got a lot more confidence. And that's why I decided it would be really helpful to design a program or some like little workshop that would help men learn how to listen. So I call it the Listening Shed. And it's just an hour and a bit, and there's 3 parts to it. And the first part is just to understand what are the filters or barriers that stop us from listening. And the second part is what are some of the bad habits? Like for me, I'm an interrupter. It's a terrible habit. And these bad habits prevent us from listening. And the third part is what are some good questions we can ask someone that open up the space for them to talk? So I was doing a Listening Shed workshop the other day, and there were about 16 guys there. And I noticed that there was a man over there, I'll call him John, and he was sitting there beside another man, and he was getting a bit teary and emotional. And I just kept an eye on him, but he was okay. And at the end, I asked the guys, how was it? What did you learn? And, John puts his hand up. He says, look, I was in a right state before I came here. My wife, yesterday, I picked her up from the hospital right after procedure. She wasn't ready to come home, but I let them pressure me. And then she's been in terrible pain ever since. I haven't known what to do. And so I just came here. I knew this was on, and I wanted to talk. So I sat down beside this guy, and I don't even know his name, and he's just been listening to me for most of the day and most of the time here, and it just feels so much better. I now know what I'm going to do. I'm going to take my wife back to the hospital and insist they look after her. And the other guys there were so appreciative that he opened up. And, the guy listening to him hadn't done anything except to listen and not interrupt and ask a few questions. And one of the men there said, what I learned is that we've just got to ask, how can I help you? And put away the mobile phone and not interrupt. So look, my invitation to you is if you see a guy who needs to talk, you sit him down and you put your mobile phone away and don't interrupt him. And just ask how he's doing and let him go and let the magic begin. And if you're interested in the Listening Shed for your organization or your group, contact me, miles@mensbusiness.net. Thanks.